Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Dr. Jane Ruby's Coffee Chat. Hope everyone's doing well. It is finally cooling down a little bit in Florida, so I wanted to mention that. And it's a beautiful, beautiful morning. It's sunny. I think the skies are still filled with poisons and toxins. My air purifiers this morning were going crazy. I had some physical symptoms. They're still doing what they're doing, but at least you understand that they are and that they're lying about it. So anyway, welcome to Coffee Chat. I want to talk today about crumbs. These policy crumbs that are being thrown at the American public and at the world for, just to keep you quiet. They're red herrings. It's what you do with a child. Give them a little something, right? To get them off your back, distract them, keep them quiet. And so that's what I want to talk about today. So we have Dr. Jane Ruby, Words of Wisdom cup. And on the other side, Show Me, which is always a good theme. Science heals only with medical evidence. I've actually already had my very strong Cuban coffee this morning. And so now we are on to homemade kombucha teas. So let's talk about the crumbs, okay? Because, look, society we now know is kind of delineated in certain slices, right? There are those that are in sort of my mentality camp, which is to not trust anybody, to use the lessons of the last 5 years. Never thought we would be here 5 years later in March of 2020, but here we are. To use those lessons to make sure that we don't fall for every little thing, and to keep teaching others, right? Then there are many factions, but there's another major faction of people that I want to sit on the fence. I still want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm still waiting, and something's going to come. And then there are those that are, this was all ridiculous, conspiracy. I don't believe, any of the truth tellers in the health freedom movement. I'm just not going to go there. You guys are crazy. Okay, and there's a whole bunch in between. But when these public officials, elected officials, unelected, the bureaucrats, when they toss crumbs, and I see people jumping on it and saying, see, isn't this great? It's really disturbing. It's almost frightening, because it just shows how gullible people can be. And part of it is there's an underlying psychological aspect to the underlying. And that is, it's not just that they're gullible. It's not just plain stupidity on the top. What's underneath what appears to be a stupidity is this denial. It's very difficult to, psychologically swallow. The government's trying to kill me. These evil things are happening. Maybe Trump is or is not who he says he is, and we thought he was going to be great, and he seemed great in the first, all these things. And so people don't want to see it. It's painful. It's heavy. But on the other hand, you have to balance that out with crumbs. Crumbs are distractions. They're a little piece of what you really desperately want, and it's enough to feed that underlying denial, to give you enough of that psychic energy to let it go again. We really have to stay on things right now, because it's super important. It's critical that now that the powers that be understand that we understand and that we see what they're doing, we want to keep that pressure on. As Catherine Watts said, keep your local pressure on. Do not comply. Raise resistance against local authorities and policies and things like that you see going in that wrong direction, because that's really the only shelter you have right now. people say, oh, look, Kennedy's done so much. How come you're so hard on him? He's got a big machine in there. It's hard to really overcome. Look, I would lean toward that if it wasn't for the fact that simultaneously their mission, the mission of more mRNA, more injections for babies and children, making more people sick and disabled, wasn't happening alongside of it. Crumbs are dangerous. They're very dangerous because they understand that if they don't throw you a crumb, that they give you nothing, no hope, no false hope, no BS, no crumb, you're gonna rip their freaking heads off. And so we should. But they just throw out enough of a crumb in different categories that the public exhales, okay, I'll wait a little longer. I think something good might be coming. And those people with high visibility that encourage that, oh, look, I think something good's coming. I think we should really give them more of a chance. Look, things are breaking down. I've talked to them inside HHS. Let me tell you, things are breaking down. He's kicking butt. Watch what they do, not what they say. And what a lot of you are doing is misinterpreting what they say for an automatic do. Just like people have said to me, Senator Ron Johnson and maybe MTG and Rand Paul, they've done a lot for the movement. No, they haven't. They've said a lot, right? They've given lip service to the movement, but they haven't done anything for the movement. I heard somebody say on a space last night, I just peek in and listen anonymously to see where we're at. And I heard someone say, do you know Ron Johnson ran again for re-election because of this fight of the COVID injured? He didn't have to do that. And I'm thinking to myself, are you out of your mind? Do you know how financially enriching it is to become an elected official now? AOC, Alexandra, Ocasio-Cortez, whatever. She's worth millions now. She was a bartender. She's worth something like $3 or $4 million. Give her time. That'll exponentially grow. Oh, yeah. Johnson ran again because he's sacrificing himself for the COVID injured. Exempted himself from the shot. Stood by while under the Biden regime, 20 million people came across the border, aided by U.S. paid NGOs, given a baggie with a phone, ivermectin, and no requirement to take the shots. While Americans, real and legal Americans inside the border, were being threatened to lose their jobs. And these congressional members exempted themselves and their almost 7,000 staffers. Yeah, Ron Johnson sacrificed himself by running again. Give me a break. You know how much money they make? He hasn't done anything. He hasn't done. And you got to measure it out. It's not this. What is it? It's doing. So when I say that while this lip service of crumbs is going out, Trump threw a crumb out last night. He posted on his Truth Social account an old film of some scientist warning about thimerosal. And then you got the navel gazing, and then you got the argument back and forth. Thimerosal is no longer there. There's different versions of the mercury-based compound. And so what? You get rid of 1 out of 50 adjuvants that are killing babies and children? Ooh, it's crumb. And crumbs are dangerous. Crumbs are red herrings. Distraction. So that you won't keep focusing on the big question, which I push in my social media. Get rid of the mRNA, halt everything, suspend the childhood schedule, make the childhood schedule, de-incentivize it for doctors. No money can be paid. No bonuses can be paid by Blue Cross and Blue Shield or United or whoever the insurer is. and no bonuses paid by the federal government, no inducements. All informed consent, complete informed consent. I mean, those are things that you might say, well, that's a pipe dream. No, it's not. Anything shy of that are crumbs. It's like when you're dating somebody, girl or a guy, whatever, you're dating somebody. And they're not quite like respectful of you and your time. And you can tell they're just not into you. But they play along like they are. And what do? To keep you on the line, they throw a crumb. I'll call you tomorrow. But he calls 4 days later. If I don't have a date and a place and a time, I don't have a date. It's a crumb. It's a crumb to keep the line, keep you in. So you're getting crumbs. You're getting statements which are crumbs. We're going to get rid of the mRNA. We're going to stop $500,000 worth of 500 million, whatever it is, just to fund these mRNA. And you think that that's a done deal. You think that's the whole continuum of projects when it's maybe 22 out of 300 projects. But what about the other? Dr. Jane, can't you ever be grateful? No. I'm never grateful for a crumb. On any level. Whether it's a boyfriend, an employer, a government, I'm never okay with a crumb. Because I think more of myself than that. Because I know I'm worth more than that. And you should think you're worth more than that as well. What do you mean? Kennedy's out there every day. He's fighting for us. Well, in his first 100 days, let's review. We got the advisory committee on immunization practices at the CDC, the panel that recommends what your next vaccines should be. We got that panel fired for conflict of interest. Oh, wow, woohoo, we're winning. No, because Kennedy replaced that panel with 7 or 8 of the same types of people. The same, and even worse, dangerous people. But people with just as many or more conflicts of interest with pharma, holding patents on vaccines. You should have nothing to do with any patents, with any incentivizing, with any money connection at all, to sit on a committee that recommends multi-billion-dollar industry products. So, what have we gotten from Kennedy's new ACIP and Kennedy in general? We've gotten one brand new mRNA poison shot called mNex Spike. Remember that? There's a lot of amnesia going on in the country right now. A lot of you have forgotten. People are writing me saying, Dr. Jane, why can't you be happy? Kennedy is stopping all mRNA. Like, where did you get that? Well, he said he was going to defund, and he was going to do that. When you break it down, right? He's never said any of that, and he's never done any of that. The late Andrew Breitbart we used to watch him when he would come to DC, and many times I watched him and I studied his public online interviews, and he would go into crowds and they'd say, "You're a racist! You're a racist!" And he'd say, "Okay, tell me one racist thing I've ever done. Not 10, just tell me one." Well, it's a trick question. Yeah, it's a trick question because it's not. It's fake. It's not based on anything. So you're taking one statement, you're not following it through in your mind to what they do or don't do. And they can say anything they want. It becomes a mantra. Yeah, Kennedy's stopping X, Y, or Z, or he's doing this, or he fired that. But you're not really looking at what's being done. You're not really looking at the net result. You're taking that crumb, you're wrapping it around, you're hugging it, you're just, so enamored with it, you're grateful for it, you're loving it. My crumb, he's done it, they've done it. And it's pervasive. across all the agencies. It's not just Kennedy and HHS or his sub-agencies like CDC, NIH, FDA. It's everything. It's Pete Hegseth. It's this bullshit, this theater. Let me do some pull-ups, in my suit. Oz gets in there, looks like an old fart because he's evil, all wrinkly, and he takes his tie off and he starts to do, it's like a, male, they're rubbing nuts together, they're being guys. Arr. What are they doing for the American people? It's all pull-ups and selfies. But you did get, in the first 100 days, out of this new HHS and this new administration under Trump, you did get a brand new mRNA shot approved, fully approved by the FDA, called mNEXSpike. You got another mRNA, a brand new one that matches up to a new variant, fast-tracked. It's an mRNA. It's for bird flu, which, by the way, no one's ever demonstrated a bird flu virus, whether it's H1N1, H2, N30, doesn't matter. Nobody's ever isolated in its whole and pure form a bird flu virus, okay? The entire virus, all of it. Not a sequence, not a facsimile, not a portion. Remember, it's like walking around the elephant and you're blind and you're touching something. You're touching one part of the elephant's body. You're touching the ear and you go, yeah, that's the tail. You have no idea what you're touching. So, until you can show me, for all of these viruses that you're going to declare a public health emergency of international concern, until you can show me, prove to me and show me a whole virus in its whole and purified form, not attached, not part of something else. That's what purified means. Isolated, purified, nothing else. From an ill individual or animal, our conversation's done. But you just got a brand new mRNA that's going to be injected into commercial fowl, chickens, ducks, turkeys. Thanksgiving's coming up. Be careful where you get your turkey. That got fast-tracked. Now, the other thing that was FDA approved in Kennedy's 100 days is just in time for, as Sasha Latipova has taught us, for the military to do their aerial drops in August and September to set up the environment for fall and winter flu. That dark winter that Biden talked about. This happens under every administration, cyclically. And according to her documents, the government actually creates fall and spring flu. Now, to that, the FDA, good soldiers that they are, they approved some new fake variants. Remember? Because these things mutate like you change your underwear, every day. These things mutate. Hope you change your underwear every day. Anyway, little levity. They approved 2 new variants. Companies, you've shown us some interesting data. You can go ahead and make your new shots for your new money this fall with no legal liability based on those variants. I've told you before, nature doesn't work like that. Organisms, bacteria, whatever, mold, fungus, they don't work like that. And we don't have proof of natural viruses in the wild. We have seen evidence of lab-created. You can define a virus in many different ways. This is why it's a very tricky argument to get in. You got to be careful. Virus versus no virus. It's not that simple. There are synthetic created entities that act like somewhat of a definition of a virus, which is it can't replicate on its own. For something that has such a hard time replicating on its own that it needs a host, needs to attach to something and multiply, it sure, they want you to believe that it sure does have the ability to, like a chameleon, change its form and shape and become aggressive again. Can't have it both ways. Can't be a super smart organism and then something that, can't replicate on its own, and it needs your DNA and it needs your this and your that. These are fairy tales. Let's be honest. DC isn't going to give you a heads up when things go south. The market's already sliding. Inflation, still here. And over $4.2 trillion has just vanished from retirement accounts. And a recession is looking like it's now unavoidable. Look, that may not shake the billionaires on Wall Street, but if you've got a 401k or IRA, a hit like that could be a disaster. That's why more folks are turning to Augusta Precious Metals. They help you move part of your retirement into physical gold, something real, something that holds value when everything else is falling apart. And the best part? They make it simple. No pressure, no games, just a team that actually takes the time to walk you through it. So if you're serious about protecting what you've earned, go to goldwithjane.com or call them at 888-836-1890 and grab Augusta's free Gold IRA guide. It's your retirement. Make sure it's protected. So you got a brand new mRNA or a brand new approved fake variant so they can bring you more mRNAs this winter. You also got in Kennedy's, this is early on Kennedy's first 100 days, 2 live organism, whatever that is, measles, mumps, rubella shots that were actually and still are causing measles outbreaks. Can't make this up. And it's like Dr. Shiva says, it's a swarm method. It's coming at you from a lot of different angles, in a lot of different ways, through a lot of different media, the plural for medium, right? Environmental, through the environment, through the water, through the food supply, partnering with these companies, these 5 or 6 companies that run the American food supply chain, and allowing them and even encouraging them or paying them to put certain poisons or allow certain poisons to stay in the food supply at any point in the, from planting the seed to the, dropping it off at the big box grocery store. Lots to think about here. You have to understand certain basic laws and truths of life. And you need to stay tight to them in order to manage the attempt to manipulate you that's going on every day in every way. It's an information war. That's what we mean. And it's very tricky. And a lot of you have come up in your understanding, and you are successful and vigilant and alert for the right things. And no, that's not true because of this basic truth here. And I've been, resurrecting the PCR is a fake diagnostic tool argument lately a lot, because I think it helps address a lot of the different issues, the new variants that they claim exist, and there's a big COVID surge in the country. Oh, really? And the bird flu thing is coming. Got to destroy a few more million birds and chickens. Yeah, if you stay tight to those basic truths I've shared with you, like the PCR test has no ability to diagnose. So don't even come at me with your new cases, your COVID surges. Now, you want to present to me a different diagnostic tool that you have demonstrated adequate studies to validate for validity and reliability? Validity is, yes, it does find that thing that it's supposed to find. And reliability is every time I use the tool, it finds what it's supposed to find. Consistency in performance is reliability. And those two pieces are required in a normal world for any tool. So you guys just some of you just say, the PCR was positive. Do you even understand that you have to require proof that something was validated. Otherwise, I could tell you that my cup, if you spit into my cup, oh, this thing automatically diagnoses influenza A. And some of you would buy that and swallow that. No, no. Okay. You also got, in his first 100 days, I don't care who's responsible to doing it. In that first 100 days, you got no criminal referrals, no arrests at FDA, no arrests for any of the people involved in Operation Warp Speed, no arrests for Fauci, no arrest for Bill Gates. Oh, Bill Gates is now 3 times visited with President Trump since he got back into office. Oh, you forgot? Yeah, he had a private meeting. Then he had a dinner at Mar-a-Lago, I believe in February. And then just last week, along with Zuckerberg on the other side. You don't think this is mockery? You got Mark Zuckerberg on one side of Trump. Mark Zuckerberg, let me lift your amnesia, who spent $600 million to interfere. This is known information, documented, to interfere with the Georgia elections because it was a key state. Yeah. Election fraud, felony, criminal, treason. But where is he? He's in, what was it? Was it Mar-a-Lago or the White House? It was the White House. He's in the White House for a dinner on the right-hand side of the president. Nobody calling Trump out? You guys got an excuse for that? Ooh, keep your enemies closer. 3 times? How much closer do you need Satan? Need him right there up in your nose and your face to know that he's evil? I don't think so. That doesn't wash anymore. Oh, Susie Wiles, she's controlling everything. She's big farm. What, is she the president? Did you vote for her? You should be screaming and yelling. When does he become responsible? Ralph Barrick, all the gain of function work at Fort Detrick and University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Peter Daszak, who blocked me when I called him out a year or so ago. Peter Daszak, who ran EcoHealth Alliance. Criminals, all free. You got what you did get. Oh, Dr. Jane, Kennedy got rid of $500 million, billion dollar, whatever, in the research on mRNA. Your childhood immunization schedule under Kennedy so far went from 72 shots to 94 by the end of your 18th year. Nothing on halt. We're going to stop this. If it's causing so many deaths and autism and destruction and neurological damage, we're going to halt it. We're going to put a citizen panel and an expert panel. We're going to look at. In the real world, you stop something that's dangerous and then you look into it. You don't hold dog and pony show hearings on Capitol Hill about something you exempted yourself from. You don't make declarations while you're doing your pull-ups. We're going to look into it. Yeah, we're going to look into it. You halt it. You halt it if something's dangerous. But no, they added to the childhood schedule, and then they laughed in your face when they moved the COVID shots for babies and toddlers. What they did was they put a nice pretty light blue bar there and said, "See notes." And everybody said, "See, it's gone. It's gone from the child." Notes still recommended for pregnant women and babies at these months. Yeah, they think you're stupid. And some of you are. But those of you who follow me and read what I'm saying and look at my receipts understand you're not stupid and you understand what this is about. Took it off the childhood schedule. And then Kennedy's allowed and Trump's allowed to keep going with this nonsense. Crumbs are dangerous. They're not only useless and like of very little significance, they're dangerous. They're actually dangerous. You got the Maha AI report, that everybody pretty much now knows it was all propaganda generated by an AI system, with what that AI system was programmed to say. And I got to tell you, the entire Twitter X community universe is so littered with Grok. Can you tell me this? Grok, is that right? Grok, does this pan out? Grok, what is this person really? What is this person's credit? And it's littered. It's worse than the ads. I've got to like flip through and flip through and flip through, and then you see how stupid it is, and even the Grok system corrects itself. Oh, I know I made a mistake there. I left out this. Oh, I know. And it repeats. If you can't see the parroting, Grok parrots the Google pre-programmed. Even when you do a search and you can't bring anything up, or it says, yes, COVID shots are safe and effective for pregnant women. And you're like, oh God, propaganda. Yeah, those are the same types of things. Grok parallels with the already programmed propaganda. James O'Keefe coined it properly. American Pravda. We have our own Pravda, our own state-sponsored propaganda machine. And a lot of it filters through these systems like Grok. Thousands of them now. I got to flip through to look at what the real people said. And last but not least, you got cleaner Fruit Loops. Crumbs are dangerous. And they're using them more and more because they're successful. Even a child who's trying to dupe you into, lying and saying, I didn't do that, I didn't ruin that, I didn't, break that bottle. If it works time and time again, they learn very quickly to keep using the technique, right? I have a friend who started to tell me yesterday at a farmer's market, or Sunday at a farmer's market, that was really interesting. She said her husband and she were like, beside themselves, and they have a 20-something-year-old daughter, and even though she moved out of the house and she's living with some friends, she finished college, 5-year plan, I think, and that the kid keeps using her credit card number. I said, change the number. You got to put the boundary. They want the boundaries, or they're just going to keep doing it. Oh, we sat her down and talked to her, but she just went into my wallet and she keeps photographing the new. Your kids are committing crimes against you, and your version of dealing with it is to just keep doing the same thing. It's crumbs. Yeah, Mom, I won't do it again. Or okay, I'm sorry. What's that person learning? Same thing. They're conditioning you with crumbs. Crumbs are dangerous. Crumbs are dangerous. Can't emphasize that too much. So that's what I wanted to share with you. And guys, along the lines, I'm going to end with this. Along the lines of this hyped up, hey, COVID's back. Hey, we got surges. Be careful. And you got the crazies talking about masks. They're starting to go into. One person said on social media said they went into their local big box drugstore, and I do not agree with pharmacists injecting people. I do not agree with people that are not medically trained, like nurses and physicians and PAs and NPs. I do not agree with people other than those people giving injections. There's so much to it. It's like flying an airplane. My cousin, who's been a captain with a major airline for many years, said, it's pretty simple to fly it if nothing goes wrong. What you want all the training for and the experience in a pilot for is for when something does go wrong and you need that extra expertise. Same thing with the pharmacy, injecting. Yeah, is it a technical thing that you could teach somebody, boom, 1, 2, 3, do this? Yes. But if something goes wrong, if they get sick, if they pass out, if they start to bleed at the site, you need that extra training. So I don't agree with these pharmacy assistants. Most people don't even ask, well, are you the pharmacist or are you the pharmacy assistant who helps count out the pills? People don't even ask. They just assume, oh yeah, white coat syndrome. You know what you're doing. But people are going in and they're going overboard and saying, complaining because the pharmacist who was injecting them wasn't wearing a mask. There's this big COVID surge. If you're going to give me my shot, you have to wear a mask. And complaining because the pharmacy person representative was put off by it. And all this. And it's like, dude, live your life. Live your life. Do not test, because there is no test that is capable of diagnosing any flu, respiratory infection, or differentiating one from another. Do not test. The test is likely, and always has been, the third bioweapon. Not every one of them, just like not every shot killed somebody, killed people. Careful of those crumbs. See you later this week for the Dr.Jane Ruby Show. Don't miss last night's show. It's a bombshell. It's a great educational piece on the new supposed Russian cancer vax cure. Unbelievable. I break it down for you. Have a blessed day. See you soon.